Denny Hamlin didn't win Sunday's race at Chicagoland Speedway. Chase Briscoe did. But make no mistake, Hamlin still walked out of Illinois as the biggest winner in the entire NASCAR Cup Series. While Tyler Reddick's championship hopes were falling apart lap by lap, Hamlin was quietly building the kind of points lead that changes a season. He dropped the hammer, and now he's in complete control. Here's why that matters way more than one trophy. NASCAR championships aren't decided by who wins the most races. They're decided by who survives the grind week after week without a single disaster. For most of this season, that driver was Tyler Reddick. After Sunday, it's Denny Hamlin, and the gap between them just became the biggest story left in the 2026 season. And there's a twist here that makes this whole battle even wilder. Reddick doesn't just drive for any random team. He drives the number 45 car for 23XI Racing, the organization Denny Hamlin co-owns alongside Michael Jordan. That means Hamlin isn't just chasing Reddick for a championship. He's racing his own employee for it. Every point Reddick loses helps the man who signs off on his equipment budget. If that's not the wildest storyline in this whole sport right now, nothing is. Let's rewind for a second, because this swing didn't happen overnight. Back after Watkins Glen, Tyler Reddick had a 129-point lead over Hamlin. That's not a small cushion. That's the kind of number that makes a championship feel almost decided before summer even starts. But racing has a way of humbling anyone who gets comfortable. Over the next 6 races, Hamlin clawed every single one of those points back. He put together his first career 3-race winning streak, taking checkered flags at Nashville, Michigan and Pocono. Then last week at Sonoma, a power steering issue slowed Reddick just enough for Hamlin to grab the points lead for the first time all season. Sunday at Chicagoland, he made sure nobody was taking it back anytime soon. This isn't new territory for Reddick either. He won the regular season championship back in 2024, the first in 23XI Racing history, and he's proven he can close out a points battle under pressure. That's exactly why this slump feels so alarming for his team right now. The driver who usually thrives when the stakes rise is the one struggling the most at the worst possible time. Hamlin beat Kyle Larson to the pole by 0.003 of a second, close enough that you could barely see daylight between their lap times on the timing screen. It was his 4th pole of the season and the 52nd of his career, which pushed him past Ryan Newman for 9th on NASCAR's all-time list. It also marked his 3rd straight pole on an oval track, following wins at Michigan and Pocono. That made him the only driver in history to win poles at both Chicagoland Speedway and the Chicago Street Course. Hamlin even joked afterward that favorable cloud cover gave him a lucky break, saying the sun baked out the drivers who ran late in the qualifying order. Modest words for a guy who is starting to look unbeatable on ovals. There was a second competition running in parallel at Chicagoland. NASCAR's in-season challenge moved into its 2nd round, and Hamlin, seeded 2nd overall, knocked out Eric Jones to punch his ticket into the quarterfinals. He'll face off against his own teammate Christopher Bell in the next round. Keep that matchup in the back of your mind, because it's going to collide with this points battle in a way nobody sees coming, but the pole was just the appetizer. The real story was still 267 laps away. Chicagoland Speedway hadn't hosted a Cup Series race since 2019, and the track picked a wild way to mark its return. William Byron looked like the class of the field early, sweeping both stages and leading more laps than anyone else on the night. He'd been craving his first win of the year for weeks, and for a while, Sunday looked like the day he'd finally get it. Kyle Larson was running 3rd in Stage 2 when he bounced over one of Chicagoland's notorious bumps exiting Turn 4, spun into the infield grass, and got stuck long enough that safety crews had to pull him out. He eventually finished 34th, dropping one single point behind Chase Elliott in the standings. That's how tight this whole points race has gotten. One spin can flip an entire position. Larson's day was rough. It was nothing compared to what happened next. On lap 131, Tyler Reddick ran over a splitter piece that had broken off another car. It tore straight through his radiator. Within seconds, his engine was cooking and his championship hopes were smoking right along with it. Reddick got on the radio, and you could hear the frustration in his voice. He apologized to his crew, saying he never heard the warning and never saw the debris coming. His team had a choice to make: park the car for the day or send it back out and try to scavenge whatever positions attrition would hand them. They chose to fight. Reddick eventually rejoined the race 28 laps down and crossed the line in 36th. Here's what makes that finish sting even more. This is now the 4th time in the last 5 races that a mechanical failure or a freak accident has wrecked Reddick's day. At some point, that stops looking like bad luck and starts looking like a pattern the 23XI team needs to solve, and fast, especially with their own boss sitting on the other side of the points battle. Up front, Chase Briscoe held off Christopher Bell by less than 0.3 of a second to grab his first win of the season and the 6th of his career. Bell made that run while racing through a healing wrist injury, which makes his charge to the front even more impressive. Gibbs Racing swept the podium with Briscoe, Bell, and Hamlin, finishing 1, 2, 3, the 8th time in team history they've pulled that off. Byron faded to 4th after leading the most laps, still searching for that elusive first win. Briscoe got the trophy and the celebration in victory lane. Hamlin walked away with something that matters a whole lot more over a full season. Denny Hamlin now sits at 764 points. Tyler Reddick trails at 720. That 44-point gap is a massive jump from the single-point lead Hamlin carried into the weekend, and it's the largest cushion anyone has held over the field all year. Ryan Blaney sits 3rd with 651 points, already 113 points behind Hamlin. Ty Gibbs holds 4th with 627, and Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 with 584, edging ahead of Larson by that single point from Chicagoland, with Briscoe's win jumping him 3 full spots up the standings in a single race. None of them are out of this fight yet either. If Hamlin or Reddick has one bad week on a superspeedway, Blaney and Gibbs are sitting close enough to strike. Think about that gap between Hamlin and Reddick for a second. It has now been more than 2 months since anyone other than Hamlin has won a full-length oval race. Reddick actually still leads the season with 5 wins compared to Hamlin's 4. But wins alone don't tell the whole story here. Consistency wins championships, and right now nobody on this grid is more consistent than the number 11 car. And for Hamlin personally, this run carries weight that goes beyond one race weekend. At 45 years old with 64 career wins, he holds the record for the most victories in NASCAR history without ever winning a championship. He's spent 2 decades chasing this one title, and every time he gets close, something slips away. This season feels different. He's not chasing anymore. He's leading, and he's leading against his own driver.